Hey YouTube, it's Mike here. Just did a chicken video on lights and timers. I wanted to actually mention, and I thought of it before, feed is one of those things that's kind of important for any kind of an animal. That's the top of my feeder. I tend to fill it, let them eat it up, then I give them a few hours to be out of food in the feeder. That gives them time to clean up around the floor, and then they're not wasting as much. Keeps the rodent population down to a minimum. I wanted to go over the makeup of my feed that I'm currently using. I'm using a layer type pellet, which is full ration. What I don't tend to like about the regular full rations is it tends to be a bit short on protein as far as I'm concerned. So I tend to mix it with scratch grain. In the winter, the corn is kind of okay as long as it's cracked. They say uncracked corn, where the hull is complete, by the time the way their gizzards work, by the time they get through that hull, they've used up almost as much energy as they're going to get from the corn. Corn adds fat. Any large amount of corn tends to, you can have chickens die from it, especially certain breeds are really susceptible. So I feed corn and wheat, which is basically it's scratch grain that I buy. I feed other grains too when I can get it. I often buy seed screenings, clean oats. It has a lot more chaff and small seed and whatever, but the point of this video is the wheat is important. There's a lot more protein that's digestible in the wheat, I find. So to round off a regular ration, with my birds, the fact that I don't want a chicken that's going to lay for 1 year and then get butchered. I want a chicken that's going to lay for 3 years, then set on some eggs, lay some eggs, set on some eggs, hatch some chicks, raise some chicks. I'll have chickens for 3 and 4 years, no problem. And so to accomplish that, I add the wheat for sure. I could buy it straight. This time of year, I don't mind a little extra corn because they're going to be burning up a lot of calories, just dealing with the cold weather that's coming. The wheat's also really good if you have chickens that are molting. If you've got chickens that are heading for around 1 year old and the days are getting short, you notice they all start to lose their feathers and they stop laying and they're acting funny. What they're doing is they're molting, and the wheat seems to have the nutrition that they need to replenish their feathers and get themselves back to laying. So basically right now that's what I've done. All my hens, if we look around here, you can see, and I should have done a video actually before, they were all kind of half naked and whatever, and now you can see their plumage is all coming in nice. You can see a couple of them there that's still pretty fresh on their feathers. And these young guys here, the wheat's good for them to get them up and growing. I do like feeding the balanced stuff, but it's not, for what I'm doing for chickens, it's not quite sufficient, and so that's why I add the scratch grain or whatever other grains I can get. And like I say, it's not so much for the corn. The corn really seems to just show up as fat. If you ever butcher a chicken, maybe one day if I'm doing that, I'll show you, especially something like this red hen here, the feeder addict. If you've got too much corn going into her system, she'll still seem skinny, but if you open her up, all around her heart will be a great big layer of fat. And basically that's what ends up killing these guys at a young age and keeping them from laying. So that's just some feed stuff, the way I kind of do it, the way I am. Like I say, I do like to let them run out of feed, probably at least once a feeder. And also, this is their other source of feed, is the great outdoors. They get out here and they pick up the bugs and the worms and whatever, and they can kind of almost balance out their own diet once they're outside the door. But being as I do have gardens and such, I can't always do that because they'll tear them up too bad, and things like tomatoes go missing. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel on feed. Don't forget, chickens are omnivores. They would love to eat a big chunk of meat, and it's amazing what kind of meat they'll take on. I've even put human food scrap meat, bones and stuff, and they'll pick them clean. It's kind of interesting to see, especially because nowadays chickens are always thought of as grain-fed vegetarian type animals, and they're not. They are definitely omnivore, preferring worms and insects, and especially like these young birds like out here, they'll pick them right out of the sky. It's pretty crazy to see. So that must be Mama right there. I think she must have been the hen that hatched him. So that's fun. Anyway, I should do a video on roosters one day. I have 2 in my pen, actually 3. But I'll do that in a separate video. And if I don't get to it and you really want to know, leave me a comment and I will do that as soon as I can. And any other questions, comments, concerns, if I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it out.